In a city built on risk and reward, the A's are stacking chips higher than the strip itself, turning the heat of the desert into the fuel for baseball's next great dynasty. Baseball in September and October is when legends are written, when the spotlight burns brightest, and when heroes are crowned. But not every team gets to chase that dream. The A's, they are not chasing rings. They are shattering them. In a month built for contenders, the A's have carved out their role as DreamCrushers, the team that drags the hopeful back to reality and reminds the league that baseball is not a Disney movie. Today on Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Booney. One name, that's right, all passion. I've been an A's fan for over 40 years. I've seen it all. The Bash Brothers, Ricky running wild, the Big Three, that thing they called Mount Davis. And here we are today, stacking chips, building a dynasty for 2028 Las Vegas with a young crop of kids that is beginning to be the envy of all of Major League Baseball. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. So do me a big favor and punch that subscribe button wherever you are following the show. Today's episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you will get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. We have an incredible show for you today, guys. There is a little bit of news coming out of Vegas with regard to the new stadium. I will cover that a little bit later. Nothing huge, but definitely want to keep you updated on the news that did come out, How about Carlos Cortes? Carlos Cortes and his journey to Major League Baseball isn't as surprising as you would think. This kid was a player to begin with. We will get to Cortez's journey a little bit later. Playoffs? Did someone say playoffs? Yes. The Midland Rock Hounds, AA, for the A's, open their 2025 playoff campaign in the Texas League this evening in Amarillo. We will go through that matchup, who to look for, who's pitching, who's hitting, etc. First and foremost, Boston, Fenway Park, the Green Monster. The A's visit the Red Sox in a 3-game set starting tonight, and the A's have a little bit of payback for the Red Sox. The Red Sox just came to Sacramento last week and took 2 of 3 from the A's, dominating Game 1, 7-0 behind Garrett Crochet, and Game 2 behind a kid who made his Major League debut last week by the name of Connolly Early. Connolly early. Who's Connolly early? Exactly. I tell you what he did do. In 5 innings of work last week against the A's, 11 strikeouts. He allowed 5 hits, no runs. He walked 1. And he'll be facing off against the same guy he faced off against last week, Jeffrey Springs. Jeffrey Springs didn't have the best of outings last week. 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned, 6 Ks. He didn't walk anybody. It's a big, big game, obviously, for the Red Sox, as they are still hunting down an AL wildcard spot, which they do have secured right now, but they're facing one of the best teams in baseball as far as how the A's are currently playing. No question about it. And the A's are just coming off a sweep against the Reds. Early was fantastic in last week's game against the A's. I mean, you're talking about 97, 98. Filthy changeup. He kept the A's hitters off balance. The A's didn't know what to expect, and he simply dominated that matchup. We talked about game 1 and Crochet. Thank God we're not facing Crochet today. In game 3 of that series, it was Mason Barnett. Mason Barnett, 3 2/3, 7 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 4 strikeouts. He walked 1. We had the lead going into the 9th. Elvis Alvarado came on to close it, gave up a late inning run, but in the bottom of the 9th against the unhittable Aroldis Chapman, Lawrence Butler walked it off with a base hit, sealing an A's 5-4 win. From there, the A's swept the Reds in 3 to continue their role as Dream Crushers. And I hope this week the A's continue that role of Dream Crusher against the Red Sox. Game 1, Connolly early, Jeffrey Springs, rematch of last week's game 2. Game 2, Mason Barnett will be on the bump. Game 3, Bello, Ginn. Can Ginn show us something? I want a consistent outing out of Ginn. I've said it on many of occasions. I believe JT Ginn has the best stuff out of the entire staff. Command. He walks a lot of guys. He got out of it against the Reds, but it has been the same script for JT Ginn all year long. Walks, hits, a lot of base runners. And for the most part, opponents have gotten that big hit off Ginn. Not last Friday against the Reds. 6 Ks, 4 walks. But when he looked good, he looked really good. And every minute you're getting ready to give up on JT Ginn, he comes up with a performance. Can he do that in Fenway Game 3? I like the A's in this series. I like the monster. I think the monster and the ballpark favors hitters for the A's. Guys like Nick Kurtz, JJ Bleday. Will we see Bleday? Will Bleday respond? Is Tyler Soderstrom going to be in the lineup? He should be. And the way our left-handers have been able to go the opposite way, I think the ballpark fits perfectly for the A's. I think they're going to make the adjustments against early today from what they saw from him last week in Sacramento. I think they'll hit Giolotto. The question is, will Barnett give us enough innings to keep the A's in the game? And I think JT Ginn's going to turn the corner on Thursday in Game 3. No matter how you look at it, it is an exciting series. And can the A's continue to play the role of Dream Crusher as the Red Sox look to secure a playoff berth? Speaking of playoffs, the Midland Rockhounds, Game 1, Texas League playoffs. Let's get into it. Up next. You have probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There are so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. And it's not just hype. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. Whether you are at work, out with friends, or even just getting ready in the morning, Nutrafol gives you more confidence in your daily routine. I love that Nutrafol is simple to add to your day. 4 pills with a meal. No prescription needed. Easy. And you can feel good about it knowing Nutrafol is NSF certified and backed by peer-reviewed studies. See thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Locked On MLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Locked On MLB. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. But actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees. It takes all the fun out of it. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You will always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. The app is made super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying. Priority fees are included. Know your total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. I love zone deals too. Pick the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save big. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I have bought tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. The Midland Rockhounds, the A's AA affiliate, faced the Amarillo Sod Poodles, which is the Arizona Diamondbacks affiliate, in a best-of-3 South Division playoff series. Game 1 is set for tonight in Amarillo's Hodgetown, with games 2 and 3, if needed, back in Midland later this week. Midland earned home field advantage by winning the first half title, while Amarillo clinched the second half crown by beating the Rockhounds 4-0 in the final week, with a trip to the Texas League Championship Series on the line. These two teams meet in a showdown of first half dominance versus second half momentum. Midland has struggled in the second half of the Texas League this year, and a lot of that has to do with players being called up to AAA. Guys like Henry Bolte, Junior Perez, pitchers such as Luis Morales, Junior Tur, Aaron Brooks, Tyler Baum, Gustavo Rodriguez, infielders like Colby Halter, Shane McGuire, Luke Mann just got called up recently. So that's kind of what's a little different with minor league playoffs. A team you start with can be completely different when you're entering in the playoffs. And that's the case with the Rockhounds. But make no mistake of it, they got some players, and all eyes will be on the Rockhounds starting pitcher in game 1, left-hander Gage Jump, the A's #3 prospect. Jump, 22 years old, has electrified all years, starting in High A Lansing and AA Midland. Over his first 10 starts or so, he has posted an ERA in the mid-ones. He has been absolutely dominant. As of late, though, Jump has struggled big time. And I know a lot of you want to see Jump come up, but right now, Over his last 4 starts, 13 and a third innings, 24 hits, 21 runs, 20 of them earned, 7 walks, 12 Ks for an ERA of 13.74. But you can throw all that out the window when it comes to the playoffs. The Rockhounds are handing the ball to the rising star in the opener. Expect the poised youngster to set the tone. His game 1 performance will be pivotal against Amarillo's lineup. I expect the gauge jump we have seen most of the year. The series and format, it's a best of 3 series with a 1-2 format, which means game 1 in Amarillo tonight, followed by 2 games in Midland. The quick series means every single game is high stakes. Midland's edge is having the last 2 games in Midland and an ace prospect on the mound in the opener. Amarillo counters with confidence from a strong finish. They went 37 and 28 in the second half, while Midland cooled off to 25 and 40. Midland's lineup has been infused with new talent, like I said, and no one defines that talent like Leo DeVries, the 18-year-old shortstop who has rocketed up the prospect rankings. He is number 1 in all of baseball, not only the A's organization. And he has been on an absolute tear as of late. He went 3 for 5 with 2 homers, a double, and 4 RBIs in a game at Amarillo last week. Another catalyst, Clark Elliott, out of the University of Michigan, started this year in high A, 24-year-old outfielder whose bats caught fire in the final series of the season. Elliott was named Texas League Player of the Week after torching the Sod Poodles, pitching for 11 hits and 25 at-bats with 5 bombs and 11 RBIs in the 6-game set. Let's talk about Midland's infield, which features, you know him, Tommy Tanks White, a slugging third baseman DH who is a star at LSU and is now one of the A's top hitting prospects. And Tommy White has absolutely made strides hitting. Gap to gap with juice, hits everywhere. And he has been on fire as of late. And his jump to Midland AA doesn't seem like a big jump for him at all. What Tanks needs to improve on is his fielding. One of the worst fielders in all of baseball at any level. Is this a mental thing? Is this a development thing? I don't know. But he's not a good enough hitter to DH. He needs to figure it out at third. And if he does defensively, there's our future third baseman in Vegas. Until then, he'll be stuck in the minors. But he will be bashing. Once he gets that glove, look out for Tanks. Outfielder Jared Dickey and infielder Josh Kuroda-Grauer are 2 more newcomers to watch for. Dickey, a left-handed hitter acquired from Kansas City in the Lucas Ursay trade. Everyone talks about Mason Barnett in that trade. Let's talk about Jared Dickey. He's a contact hitter who had a 4-hit game earlier this summer in Midland and has absolutely been raking all year long. Kuroda-Grauer is a 21-year-old middle infielder with a line drive bat and speed. I like Kuroda-Grauer. Before they made the trade for DeVries, I had Kuroda-Grauer as the number 2 shortstop in the whole organization. When you're talking about pitching and who may get the ball, you got to talk about Braden Brady Nett, the A's number 5 prospect, also acquired in that Mason Miller trade. He's a strikeout pitcher who could get the ball game 2. It's going to be a fun series. It starts tonight. Game 1 tonight. Game 2 Thursday, I believe, and game 3 on Friday. If necessary, I want to say that. Double check that. You can see the game on MILB Pass. Check it out. Midland, Amarillo starts tonight, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Speaking of the minors, a player who's definitely paid his dues down there, Carlos Cortes, has absolutely exploded on the scene. Let's talk about Carlos up next. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you are ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you will get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you would like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you are watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. On a late summer night in 2025, the Sutter Health crowd witnessed a bit of baseball history. Carlos Cortes, 5'7" outfielder with a very unique skill set, wasn't even supposed to start that game. But after Tyler Soderstrom's last-minute scratch, Cortes found his name penciled in the lineup, and he promptly rewarded the A's with not one but two home runs, single-handedly powering a 3-0 win over Cincinnati. In one evening, the 28-year-old rookie literally doubled his career Major League Baseball home run total, vaulting from a feel-good call-up to Sacramento's cult hero. It was the latest chapter in a most unconventional baseball journey, one that began in college stardom, wound through the years of minor league tolling, and finally blossomed. It didn't stop with just game one. He worked a 13-pitch at bat against one of baseball's best pitchers in Hunter Green and took him deep in game two. Before he was turning heads for the A's, Carlos Andres Cortes was a highly touted amateur with the University of South Carolina. At South Carolina, he quickly made a name for himself as a compact left-handed slugger. Despite a slow start as a freshman, Cortes exploded in the latter halves of the season. In 2017, 286, 12 bombs, 41 ribbies, earning SEC All-Freshman honors. He followed that with 15 bombs, 43 walks in 2018, finishing with a 265 average as a sophomore. Cortes developed a reputation for coming up clutch in big moments. A walk-off solo bomb to beat Missouri 1-0, multi-homer games in the SEC tournament, and a 4-for-5 performance in the NC2A regional championship win. By the end of that season, he was a preseason All-American and rated as one of the top 35 draft prospects nationally. Scouts loved his short line drive swings and surprising power for his size. One SEC coach, quote unquote, built like a fire hydrant with a rocket in his bat. And indeed, at 5'7" and around 197 pounds, Cortes packed plenty of muscle onto his frame. Evaluators were also puzzled about his future position. See, Cortes has an unusual defensive profile. In college, he played both second base and left field. And did you notice when you look at his profile, when it lists his bat throw listings, he bats left and throws both. That's right. Cortes is a true ambidextrous thrower, a party trick that traced back to his dad's advice when Carlos was 8. Learn to throw right-handed to increase your versatility, he told him. He did just that. As a Gamecock, Cortes primarily patrolled the outfield throwing lefty, but he could also fill in at second base throwing righty. It's the kind of thing that makes a scout's head spin in a good way. Fully ambidextrous, Cortes throws left-handed in the outfield and right-handed in the infield. Baseball America noted in its 2018 draft report, adding that both arms were fringy in strength and that he was a below-average runner. In other words, his athletic tools weren't overwhelming. No cannon arm, no plus speed, so his bat would have to carry him. He was drafted by the Mets. The Mets clearly believed in that bat, grabbing Cortes in the third round of the 2018 draft and giving him $1 million signing bonus. Thus began the next phase of Cortes's journey, the long grind of the minor leagues. His first taste of pro ball was in 2018, short season with single A ball. He was all right, 264, 4 bombs in 47 games. Line wasn't flashy, but he showed short, compact lefty swing and strike zone control that scouts had noted. He also demonstrated something Mets minor league coaches appreciated: perseverance through slumps. In college, he had a pattern of early season slumps, followed by strong finishes, and that mentality served him well in adjusting to wood bats. If nothing else, he proved he could handle the transition to pro pitching without being overmatched. The following year, 2019, saw Cortes to High A Lucy, where he played a full season. His performance mirrored the Florida Heat, steady, not scorching, 127 games, 255, 11 bombs. Then came 2020, the year of chaos for everybody, right? Baseball included. COVID-19 pandemic wiped out the entire minor league season, leaving players like Cortes in limbo. In 2021, minor league baseball resumed and Cortes picked up where he left off, now at Double-A. The following season, 2022, brought Cortes a dose of humble pie. The Mets started him in Triple-A Syracuse, but he couldn't hit 34 games. 168, one bomb. And he got demoted back to Double-A. After the 2024 season, Carlos Cortes became a minor league free agent, free to sign with any team. Why not just keep him? It's a fair question. He's been a steady performer and clearly improved. The answer likely lies in the Mets depth chart and their trajectory at the time. They had higher profile prospects and recent acquisitions clogging the path. And perhaps the Mets simply didn't project Cortes as a future MLB contributor, viewing his decent AAA numbers as a ceiling rather than a stepping stone. If so, they were about to be proven wrong to the benefit of the A's. That winter, the Athletics, in full rebuild mode and hungry for any potential upside, signed Cortes to a minor league deal. To the A's, this was a low-risk move. Here's a guy with a knack for getting on base, some pop, and a chip on his shoulder after not getting a shot with his original team. In other words, the classic, money ball profile, if you want to put it in those terms. Cortes' story is one of those that baseball fans love, the underdog who makes good. He's not towering or toolsy or touted. He's the opposite of the cover boy prospect. He's the guy you root for because he's had to earn everything the hard way. That sums up his approach to baseball and life. Stay ready, work hard, seize the moment. It's exactly what he's done. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen every day. For your second listen, find the all-night Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, until a World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts.